was really an overpowering experience, and it still is.
Volcanologist Don Swanson was sent to Mount St. Helens in March 1980 to join a team of USGS geologists monitoring the volcano.
It was pretty startling, actually, and of course, initially we thought the measurements were incorrect, and so we repeated them over and over again and kept getting the same results. So then we knew we had to accept them and that the mountain was doing something that we really hadn't anticipated.
The activity at Mount St. Helens drew many to the area, including Trixie Anders and her friend James Fitzgerald. They were both geologists working on their PhD in volcanology. Anders says they had to be there.
I mean, a good volcanologist could not stay away from a volcano erupting in their backyard.
They found a spot on nearby Spud Mountain with a great view of the volcano. It was in an area designated to be safe. On May 18, 1980, Anders and her husband planned to meet up with Fitzgerald at their lookout point at sunrise. Well, Anders says on the drive up to the meeting place, her husband insisted on stopping for breakfast. When they got to the turnoff to Spud Mountain, it was 8:32 a.m. and Mount St. Helens erupted.
My first reaction was, oh my God, Jim's up there getting great pictures. I knew we should have been up there. I'm angry. And then in less time it took me to explain that to you, I realized, oh my God, we're going to die because it's coming so fast.
It was a 5.1 magnitude earthquake that triggered the eruption and a massive landslide that released pressure built up from the magma in the volcano. That sent out a lateral blast of 24 megatons of thermal energy. The ash cloud reached 80,000 feet in just 15 minutes. Don Swanson jumped in a helicopter.
It was almost unbelievable. We had to believe it because we could see it, but it was one of these things that we just kept going and going and going in the helicopter, and we kept crossing down forest, and the debris avalanche went way down the valley. So it was a very remarkable experience scientifically and then emotionally too, that first day.
Swanson's friend, geologist David Johnston, was killed in the lateral blast. He was set up at a lookout point just north of the volcano.
It was quick, but it would have taken enough time for this blast cloud to have reached him that he would have seen it coming.
Swanson was actually scheduled to be at that lookout point the day of the eruption, but he had asked Johnston to switch with him. Well, 4 days after the eruption, Anders learned her friend James Fitzgerald suffocated at Spud Mountain.
You just suffocate because there's no oxygen and it's hot. It burns your lungs. It's an awful way to die. It's not an immediate way to die, and you suffer.
In 1982, the 110,000-acre Mount St. Helens National Volcanic Monument was created, allowing for the environment to renew naturally. Peter Frenzen, the monument scientist, has been at St. Helens since right after the eruption.
For us, the most important initial discovery was that the area was not lifeless. And as we were able to get access and poke around, we quickly discovered that early spring, that May eruption in the high mountains, had allowed many things that were dormant at the time of the eruption to survive, and there were sprigs of new life, young plants coming up in little protected pockets throughout the blast zone. Now, 30 years later, what had been mostly open, empty, and largely lifeless looking, it wasn't lifeless, has now become covered in a carpet of wildflowers with birds and wildlife, and it's just an amazing place to see the combination of all that natural beauty and, of course, overlain on the fury of what happened 30 years ago.